Rabbi Louis Sierra. So, it's time to begin. I'd like to welcome everyone to Talmud Talks. My name is Rabbi Louis Sierra, and this is a program of Congregation Kol Ami in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and we're continuing our study of the Talmud. We've been working on Tractate Barachot. We are now in the last parak and learning about today dreams and dream interpretation. This is a fascinating parak in that it gives us a large insight into the meaning of many of the occasional prayers we'll say, but also in some of the concerns of Jews and Jewish scholars in the period of late antiquity. So we'll look at a bunch of stuff today and see how far we get. My goal is to finish the tractate by the end of the spring, by Shavuot, but we'll see if we get there or not. So if everyone's ready let's just dive into our texts. So this is where we left off last week. We left off with an interpretation of dreams and the idea of you're entering into a city and how to protect yourself from the evil eye. So we talked somewhat about what the evil eye was, what it meant, and here's a way of protecting oneself. So just to review, one enters a city and fears the evil eye. That one should hold his thumb of his right hand in his left hand, and the thumb of his left hand in the right hand, and recite the following. So I don't know if anyone practiced this over the last week, but if you did, this is what you did. And you say, identify yourself. Anna Poloni bar Poloni. I am so-and-so, the son of so-and-so. Mizara de Yosef Karatane. I come from the descendants of Joseph. De la Shalta be Eina Bisha, over whom the evil eye has no dominion, as it is stated. And then we have a biblical verse. Joseph is a fruitful vine by a fountain. Its branches run over the wall, and that's from the blessing of Jacob, Yaakov, over his sons at the end of the book of Genesis. And then the scholars say, Al tikre aleayin, don't read aleayin, ela oleayin, but rather oleayin, the one who rises above the eye, and the evil eye has no dominion over him. So, we've already learned that one of the benefits of being part of the Jewish people is that you don't have to worry about the evil eye. You probably didn't know that, but it's one of those built-in benefits. But you do have to activate it. Sometimes you may have to announce it. So you have that built-in protection. And all you really got to do is remain on board. There are lots of blessings in Judaism that go that way. The most prominent one is Olam Haba, that so long as you remain within the community of Israel, you don't have to worry about Olam Haba. It's part of the package. I often describe this, if this is at all helpful, something like a tour. You want to visit, let's say, a country. Let's give an example, Ireland. Now, it's easy enough to do that on your own, but you could also do it on a tour. If you do it on a tour, it comes with a package. You have hotels, you have meals, you have a guide, and all you have to do is get up in the morning and get on the bus, and always remember to get on the bus at the right time. So long as you get on the bus, you don't have to worry about getting to your next destination and finally getting home. You don't have to pay attention to what they're saying. You can take a nap. You can do whatever you want. You just have to get on the bus at the right time, get off the bus on the right time. If you miss the bus, it's quite possible that you can find your way home, but you no longer have the guarantee. So one of the advantages of remaining within the Israelite covenant is that we have certain inherent blessings. So this is one of them. We didn't think about often that we don't have to worry about the evil eye, but in a greater sense, you don't have to worry about Olam Haba. That's guaranteed. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just do your job here. Rabbi Yossi, the son of Rabbi Hanina, said. So would someone like to continue here? We are going with the discussion. So if someone would care to start reading here, we'll read this next box.
I can read. Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Hanina, said, derive it from here, from what is stated in Jacob's blessing of Joseph's sons. May the angel who redeemed me from all the harmless, the youths, and may be called by my name, in the name of my fathers, Abraham and Yitzchak, and let them grow like fish into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Just as,
Please, can you see it okay, or should I make it bigger?
Yeah, no, I can see it. Just as fish in the sea are covered by water, and the evil eye has no dominion over them, as they cannot be seen, so too the offspring of Joseph, the evil eye has no dominion over them.
Okay, so that's another reason why we're protected. Now, we are now talking about the blessing of Ephraim and Manasseh, and may the angel who redeemed me from all harm bless these youths, and maybe they call by my name. Now, the funny thing is, the digu l'rav b'kerev haaretz, and this is sort of a little pun here, because probably it doesn't just mean like fish, though the Hebrew word for fish is dog. So it means really they should grow to a multitude, but they wanted to just emphasize the Dalet Gimel dog thing here. So we're going to do a little pun or a little midrash on fish. So just as fish are covered by water, the evil eye has no dominion over them. So too, the offspring of Joseph, the evil eye has no dominion over them. So it's another reason why we don't have to worry. So this is also interesting. This is yet another example where fish are a symbol of the Israelite nation. And often when we, hold on, Jerry, I'll get you in a minute. Often we think in antiquity of the fish being a Christian symbol, because the Greek word is an acrostic for Jesus Christ Savior. We also see that fish is a Jewish symbol. So if you see a bowl from late antiquity with fish on it, don't necessarily assume it's Christian. Yes, Jerry, please.
I just am somewhat moved by the concept of water, protection of the well. They chose to talk about fish in the sea.
Yeah.
I'm also reminded that, water is the greatest, right? And yet we don't say a prayer over water because that's just sort of a natural gift from God. So again, the allusion to the sea and to water and protection seems to be meaningful.
Yeah. Also, fish are the other thing that symbols for fish are. Oh, Shimi, you have your hand up.
No, if you want to finish your thought, it's
no, you continue.
The thing that maybe resonated is not the right word, but in Torah and Talmud, you're constantly beat over the head with "be fruitful and multiply," and so in this prayer that he's uttering, he's basically saying, "Bless the youth that they will be named for me and be multitudes and whatever." It's interesting that if you look, though, that there are parts of the Torah and the Talmud that, like the prophets and some other characters who weren't venerated for their offspring and their multitudes, but were venerated for their works and their commitment to Torah.
Okay. I think we're talking about, they're very similar. One of the problems of life in late antiquity, and actually earlier, and actually probably to the Middle Age, to our time, is the high mortality rate. And it was really important to be fruitful and multiply to maintain culture and to maintain society. I remember when I was studying this, I heard a statistic that 1% of the city of Rome died every year. So you had a 1 in 100 chance living in an urban center in late antiquity of just dying. That doesn't mean that you weren't going to live a long time. We also know that child mortality rates were very high, and that looking at tombstones and things like that, we know that people died at a fairly young age. That I think everyone on this in this class, had we been living in late antiquity, we probably all would have been dead by this time. We wouldn't have made our old age. Even Shimmy, who's one of the younger people here. Please, so being fruitful and multiplying is a really important thing. So here we have yet another ritual, though. If he is concerned about his own evil eye, lest it damage others, he should look at the side of his left nostril. So if you're feeling jealous of someone and you're expressing these wishes either outwardly or inwardly, look to your left nostril. So I want everyone to practice, just in case you have bad, envious feelings, look to your left nostril. Wow. Now, what do you think that does? Does it prevent you? What does it do? Why would you do something like that?
Because your eye doesn't look forward. And
Yeah,
you couldn't see your eye even in a mirror.
that's right. That could be. Yeah. So it may have something like that. So you're moving your eye away so you're not going to zap the person. But it could also just be a reminder that, oops, I'm thinking something wrong. Like, what do? Sort of a trick to remind yourself. So a third teaching, telling people when you're ill. So we remember last week, these 3 rabbis said everyone has to say something new. So here's the last one. Would someone care what to do if you're sick? Gail, would you care to read?
Okay. Another began and said, one who is sick should not reveal it on the first day of his illness, so that his luck should not suffer. From there, he may reveal it.
Okay, let me get back. I just clicked it. Yeah, okay. And then
Like-
what goes?
Like that which Rava does when he falls ill. On the first day, he does not reveal it. From there on, he says to his servant, go out and announce, Rava is sick. Those who love me will pray that God have mercy on me, and those who hate me will rejoice over my distress. And it is written, rejoice not when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles, lest the Lord see it, and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him. The joy of my enemy over my distress will also assist my healing.
This, I think, is sort of cute. Why would I think that? So what is the situation here? He's sick. He does it when he wants to announce, he says, announce that he's sick. So he says, everyone who loves me will pray that God has mercy on me, and those who hate me will rejoice in my distress. And that will be good too, because if they rejoice in my distress, God will get them. And that's good news. Comments?
So you're rejoicing in their distress because
Yeah, it's sort of it's sort of weird, but
Yeah.
those who love me will be blessed because of their concern, because that's the right and good thing to do. Those who hate me and rejoice will get in trouble. And, that will also be a benefit to me.
Right. But because you got better, you're rejoicing.
Yes. Or even the idea that, my enemies are not going to benefit from my distress. Oh, that's good to know. So
That's hard. Rejoice not when your enemy falls.
yes, that's the proverb thing. Rejoice not when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles. Lest the Lord see it and displace him. He will turn his wrath away from him. Okay. So here it is, another way of saying it. If they're glad that Rava is sick, Rava, God will be unhappy, and he'll say, okay, I'm going to cure Rava because these are bad people. I'll take my wrath from Rava and just put it someplace else, maybe on them. So that's how I think this might be working. This idea, however, is not to celebrate when your enemy falls is a much tougher thing.
Yeah. So this is saying it's good to have enemies.
Yes, it's one thing. It's good to have enemies. When they're having a good time, when they're happy that I'm falling, God will be so angry at them. He won't worry about me, and my affliction will disappear. So I'm going to be healed by my friends and healed by my enemies. So maybe in our Misha Barak prayers, we should have everyone who's in favor of a person say a prayer, and all the rest of them, you can curse the sick people, and that will help them too.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what a Debbie Friedman song about cursing the sick would be like.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the end. But it is this proverb thing is a really difficult issue. And it reflects, some type of sense in the Jewish tradition, is that even though we need to defend ourselves against our enemies, we are not to take any joy in their defeat, because they are in some way human beings as well. We may have had to do something that's necessary, but it's not necessarily a good, not necessarily a sense of rejoicing. So that's the end of this section. So I'm going to jump out of this, and we go into a new share.
Rabbi?
Yes.
Jerry has a question.
Oh, okay, Jerry.
I couldn't figure out how to raise my hand, so I'm sorry to just jump in, but
No, please. That's fine, Jerry.
do you want to ask it, Jerry?
Actually, that was
you rejoice in revenge.
got it.
Is revenge allowed?
Is revenge allowed?
Yeah.
No, not really. Revenge is something that God does. God will punish people who are evil. It's not up to you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what about like an eye for an eye and something like that?
Eye for an eye is is part of the punitive system of the society. That's to find some type of recompense. Eye for an eye is generally understood in rabbinic literature, and probably even in biblical literature, as equivalent compensation. You may see in some accident insurance policies that you get so much money if you lose one eye, so much money if you lose a foot. This is so that the court can assess damages in a civil suit. But it's not up to individuals to exact revenge. At one time, it was a problem, and that sort of is the explanation behind the cities of refuge, that if a person accidentally committed manslaughter, that in the earlier system, the family or the clan was required to inflict a punishment. But this way, by going to the city of refuge, he can then have the case adjudicated. So there's not a very Private justice is not part of the Jewish legal tradition.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, Shimi.
I don't know if this question flows from that, but
Remember, no excuses explaining your question. Just ask
no,
the
I'm
question.
not trying to explain my question. I'm just trying to give a little bit of context.
Yeah.
When I see hey, yud maybe translated as the Lord,
Yeah.
I think to myself, especially in translation, I mean, there are words like Adon in Hebrew or Melech for king, but I think
Yeah.
to myself, in terms of revenge or in terms of jealousy or greed or retribution, there are many lords before the Lord. Like there's many. It might be the lieutenant in your unit. It might be your boss. It might be your parent. It might be your grandparent. But there are often many Adon before Adonai, if you will.
Sure. I guess I probably should have gone through and corrected it. It's probably better to say less Hashem sees it. Because when we say Lord, that's the English equivalent of Adon, which is a circumlocution for pronouncing the divine name, Yud He Vav He.
Is that not a particularly Jewish thing to read the Lord or the King and think about earthly lords and kings?
Well, it's always going to get us in trouble, but God is often, we use images of earthly governance to describe God's sovereignty. Now, this was a period, our tradition, both in the biblical and the rabbinic period, they are in autocratic monarchies and ultimately imperial states. So God is king, and more important, as we see in, let's say, Shalom Aleichem, God is the King of Kings, so that he is the king above kings. Sort of like the title of the emperor of Persia, the Shah and Shah, the Shah above all other Shahs. So God is the king of kings. The word Lord for Yud He Vav He is something that developed in probably the first couple of centuries BCE, when Jews were translating the scripture into Greek, and when they saw the word Yud He Vav He, they used the term Kyrios, which is the Greek word for Lord. At that time, we had begun to develop the custom of not pronouncing God's name. So the tradition that comes down through Christianity is from the Greek translation.
That's what kids today would call a deep cut.
Yeah. So sometime probably in the early Middle Ages, there were other ways of talking about God, but the idea of talking about the name Hashem starts developing. But I can't tell you exactly when. So, but there's nothing wrong with thinking about governmental or judicial processes and using as a metaphor for God, because it's something that has been used in the past. Today, some people are uncomfortable with something like Lord or something like King, because it doesn't really, fit our structures, the way we think politically. But those are really good questions. So I'm going to get out of this share and go into a new one. Let's see if I can think which one is next. Good and bad dreams. Okay, examples of dreams. So we're jumping a little ahead in our text. And we have examples of dream interpretation. So this is just, again, to get a sense of, people's ideas, what does it mean? How do they deal with these strange things called dreams? So, would someone like to read about Bar Kappara's 4 dreams? So if you're interested, we'll learn a little about Bar Kappara. Who is he? Bar Kapara is an Amora, a Tana, sort of at the transition period. So he was frequently around Yehuda Nasi as an advisor and gadfly. He compiled a group of teachings like the Mishnah and had many students. While meagerly subsiding on his own labor, he eventually received divine aid, allowing him amply to take care of his household and some of his students. So he's one of the voices behind that sort of alternative collection of Baraitot that I guess become the Tosefta. So here he is, he's talking to Rabbi, and Rabbi is the title given to Yehuda Hanasi. So what does he say?
Nobody wants to read, I'll read.
Okay.
Similarly, the Gemara relates, Bar Kapara said to Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, I saw in a dream that my nose fell off. What does my dream mean? He said to him, this is an illusion that anger, Haran Af, that had been directed against you has been removed from you.
Okay. So it's a pretty simple thing. My nose fell off, and the answer is, okay, anger is Haran Af. That is like your nose is getting like all sorts of really red and hot and burning. A biblical example, and that's taken away from you. Someone who was angry at you no longer is. So what's the next one, Ira?
Then Bar Kapara said to him, I saw my 2 legs were cut off. Rabbi,
Oh no, you go up to the next one. This one here.
Oh,
Okay.
my eyes went to the wrong place. Bar Kapara said to him, I saw in a dream that my 2 hands were cut off. Rabbi said to him, this dream means that you will not require the labor of your hands, as you will be rich and you will have considerable means without effort.
Okay. Now remember, the little gray things are Rabbi Steinsaltz's expansion. But
Right.
You don't. Your hands fell off.
Yep.
You won't need them. Don't worry.
Yep. Bar Kapara said to him, I saw my 2 legs were cut off. So Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi said, you are riding a horse.
Okay. Well, he's doing very well. He doesn't have anyone angry at him. He's going to be rich. And what do rich people ride?
They don't walk, they ride a horse.
They ride a horse. What do what do middle-class people ride?
A cart? I don't know.
Or a donkey.
A donkey.
And what do poor people ride?
Their feet.
They don't. So
They use their several legs.
yeah. Good pun. So here's the last one.
Okay, the last one, he said to him, I saw that they were saying to me that in the month of Adar I will die, and I will not see Nisan. He said to him, you will die in glory, Adruta, and you will not be brought to temptation, Nisayon.
Okay, so here it is, a nice pun on this. He's going to say, I'll die in the month of Adar and I won't get to see Nisan. Oh my God, it's now Shvat. I'm not going to make it to Pesach. And, I'm going to die on Purim and I won't get to Pesach. This is terrible. And he says, don't worry. Adar means Adruta, which is this nice word for glory, and you're not going to be with Nisayon. Nisin here is being connected to the word to test. So God will enable you to die in a glorious state, and you won't be subject to all those terrible temptations of life. Okay, now we're going to get to, this is a heretic stream, and it is X-rated. So I'm just giving you a warning. So if anyone's uncomfortable with rabbinic porn, please tell me. But you'll get a sense they talk about everything. So would someone who is not so sensitive kindly read? Jerry, you have a hand up. I hope you're not volunteering to read.
The Gemara relates a different case of dream interpretation. A certain heretic said to Rabbi Ishmael, I saw in my dream that I was irrigating olives with olive oil. What is the interpretation of my dream? He said to him, it is a sign that you had relations with your mother. As oil comes from the olive, and he is returning the oil to olives.
What a terrible human being. And his secret sin has now been revealed. Luckily, we just don't know who this man is out of probably a sense of respect. It's just some general meaning who we don't know. Okay. Thank you for telling me, he says, and then he says it again. Another thing. What's his second terrible dream?
That heretic said to Rabbi Ishmael, I saw that I was plucking a star. He said to him, you kidnapped an Israelite man, as Israel is likened to the stars.
Okay, so now this is yet another big mitzvah that he commanded. Al tiknov is probably and maybe against kidnapping. So here it is. Okay, now it gets worse.
The heretic said to him, I saw that I swallowed a star. He said to him, you sold the Israeli man whom you kidnapped and spent the money that you received from the sale.
It's terrible. What is a Jewish person supposed to do when we see a fellow Jew in captivity? What is the requirement?
Redeem the person?
Yeah, we're supposed to redeem people. So this guy is worse. He's stealing them, and now he's selling them. And not only is he selling them, he's enjoying the profits. Okay. Let's go on.
Yeah. The heretic said to him, I saw my eyes kissing one another. He said to him, you had relations with your sister, as siblings are like two eyes.
Wow, this is a really miserable human being.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The heretic said to him, I saw myself kissing the moon. Well, we know what that is. He said to him, you slept with an Israelite woman who was likened to the moon.
When I say Israelite, this is really meaning Jewish, but the rabbinic term for the Jewish people is Israel. That means the Jewish people. That's why it is Medinat Yisrael, the state of Israel, because Israel is the name of the Jewish people. We usually at this period didn't call ourselves Yehudim. Okay.
He said to him, I saw that I was treading in the shade of a myrtle tree. He said to him, you slept with a betrothed young woman, as it was customary to make a canopy of myrtle for the betrothal.
Oh, God.
And he said to him, I saw that the shade was above me and the tree was below me. He said to him, your bed is upside down. Your relations with the betrothed woman were unnatural. He said to him, I saw ravens circling my bed. He said to him, your wife committed adultery with many men.
Okay, you're pretty bad, but your wife's no better. Oh, dear.
That could have been the root of his problems.
Yeah.
He said to him, I saw doves circling around my bed. He said to him, you defiled many women. He said to him, I saw that I was holding two doves and they were flying. He said to him, you married two women and dismissed them from your house without a divorce. He said to him, I saw myself peeling eggs. He said to him, you stripped dead people, because an egg is eaten at the meal of comfort after burying the dead. The same heretic said to him, everything you've interpreted is true, with the exception of this one, the last interpretation, which is not true.
Okay, so let's stop here. So he's done all these terrible things, but robbing the dead, that's something I wouldn't do. God forbid I should rob the dead. No. Well, what's happening? Are we to believe him? No. Here's the case. Continue reading, Jerry.
Meanwhile, this woman came and said to him, this cloak that you're wearing belongs to such and such man who died and whom you stripped of his clothing.
So he even did that, and now we know he's a liar.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said to Rabbi Ishmael, I saw that they said to me in a dream, your father left you property in Cappadocia.
So where's Cappadocia?
Turkey.
It's in Turkey, yes, in the center of the Anatolian, Anatolia. And Rabbi Ishmael, continue, please.
Said to him, No. The heretic said to him, no. Did your father ever go to Cappadocia? The heretic said to him, no. So Rabbi Ishmael said to him, if so, it must be understood as follows. Kappa in Greek means beam. Deka means 10. Go look at the 10th beam in your house and you'll find that it is full of coins. He went and found that it was full of coins.
Okay, so this is just, probably not a lot of deep teaching in this one. But it is, just to give you a sense of some of the other things that you'll just find in the Talmud, sort of. I always think this is sort of like the rabbis having fun. There's so much of the stuff that is deep and it requires analysis and careful reasoning, but every so often there's this sort of playfulness that goes on. And
What if the heretic was a woman? Would this apply?
yeah, well, I mean, it could very well be a woman. This is a guy who misbehaves, but we do get a sense that his misbehavior was also that his wife was also no great great saint either. So I don't think we have to really spend a lot of time discussing it. I just thought it would be a fun break. So let's go back to our next screen share, and this one. Good dreams and bad dreams. Now, remember that anything in blue, that's my stuff made up. So that's how I try to understand what's going on or what I've added. So would someone we're starting to learn about good dreams and bad dreams. So number 14, would someone care to read?
I can read again if nobody.
Please, Rochelle.
The Gemara relates Shmuel, when he would see a bad dream, would say, and the dreams speak falsely, they console with vanity.
Yeah.
When he would see a good dream, he would say, and do dreams speak falsely? Isn't it written, I speak with him, a prophet, in a dream? With Moses, God spoke face to face.
So here we have a good thing. So bad dreams, they don't count because bad dreams console falsely, but good dreams count because prophets get to talk to God in a dream. Moses is special because God speaks to Moses face to face, but us regular prophets, we have to receive some type of other communication. So
A go-between.
a go-between, a phone call, a text message, we don't have an interview. So 15.
Rava raised a contradiction between these verses. On the one hand, it is written, I speak with him in a dream. And on the other hand, it is written, and the dreams speak falsely.
Okay.
The Gemara resolves this contradiction. This is not difficult because there are two types of dreams. Here, the verse, I speak with him in a dream, refers to dreams that come by means of an angel. Here, the verse, and the dreams speak falsely, refer to dreams that come by means of a demon.
Okay, so we have two different things. We have a malach and we have a shade. Okay, so we have our own image of angels and demons. They had their idea. Shade or shadim are those demonic powers that probably lived out in the wilderness and did all sorts of terrible things. They are often sometimes seen as evil, but sometimes just seen as nasty. Demons trick you and trip you and are just unpredictable and like chaos. Angels are people who deliver God's word and like order. So a shade is probably something like a jinn. in biblical times, people may have looked at the shade and they may have thought of something. Let me get rid of these dots again. Something that looked like a satyr, one of the Greek guys, with goat's feet and human tops, and just did silly things, caused trouble. So angels do good things, and shadim, they cause trouble. Okay. In a long chain of tradition, in a long chain of those transmitting this statement, we went through, I think, did we go through this before? Did I hit you on this one, or did I just study it? Well, we have here the idea of a tradition. All these people saying, Rabbi Bizna bar Zavda said that, Rabbi Akiva said that, Rabbi Panda said that, Rabbi Nachum said that, Rabbi Birayim said, in the name of one elder, and who is he? He is Rabbi Bena'ah. So we don't know most of these guys except Rabbi Akiva.
Mm.
And you want to continue reading. After all these guys, what's the story? Going back to Rabbi Bena'ah. So let's just do the generations. So if Rabbi Akiva is fourth generation Tana, so we go to a third generation Tana, we go to a second generation Tana, we go to a first generation Tana. So we go now to Rabbi Bena'ah, and this is probably one of the people at the end of the Anshe Knesset Hagadolah. So probably a guy who lived in the time of Hillel and Shammai, of whom we know nothing.
Mm.
So he's talking about a time when Jerusalem is still standing and Jews are living there, and it's a part of the Herodian period, Hasmonean Herodian period. So here it is. Wow.
There were 24 interpreters of dreams in Yerushalayim. One time I dreamed a dream and went to each of them to interpret it. What one interpreted for me, the other did not interpret for me. And nevertheless, all of the interpretations were realized in me to fulfill that which is stated, all dreams follow the mouth of the interpreter.
Follow the mouth. So that's sort of an interesting thing, just in understanding how commentary and explanation works. When you read a commentary, or you're listening to the news, let's say you turn on your favorite news channel, the ones that are always going, and they have all those talking heads, and they're telling you about what's going on in the world. They're interpreting it for you. What are you learning? Are you learning about the events, or are you learning something else?
The person's interpretation of the events.
That's right. Learn about the person more than the event. So that's that's an important thing always to remember, that when we talk about things, when someone tells us something, they are always revealing something of themselves.
Mm.
I often would talk about people when if I want to, when they say let's say talking about God, they don't tell people don't tell me very much about God, but they tell me about what they think God's about, which reveals something of themselves, some of their values.
Mm.
So the interpretation follows the interpreter. One of the other things that are just always good to know, and I'm sure I've talked about it before, when you see a commentary, it's always important to understand that it is commentary, and there's something, let's say in a text, that is bothering somebody and raises a question. The question that is raised is probably more important than the answer given. The commentator will perhaps indicate that he has a problem with this. Maybe I or you should have a problem with this. And then we can figure out the answer. Reading commentary is sort of like playing Jeopardy. You have the answer, you want to know what the question is. So a dream is a type of prophecy. Would someone else care to read? Oh, Jerry Faber.
Yeah.
Faber.
Actually, I just want to go back because what it basically says that I think that we can discuss or understand that all of the interpretations were realized in me. Self-fulfilling prophecies, power of suggestion, I think that's just something that we should underscore before we leave.
Yeah, that could be. But I think the realization here was that that the dreams don't what the interpretation showed was not what the dreams meant, but this fundamental understanding that kol hachalomot holchim achar hapeh, that the interpreter tells you about himself.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Not that they were realized that this, I grew, I got rich, I got tall, I bought a wife, I got a new cow, all these things that they may have told him it meant. Basically, what he's saying is, yeah, it's not that these guys are wrong. It's just that I'm learning about them and not about my dreams.
Right. So it was realized. So in other words, I realized that it's in the hand of the interpreter. Yeah.
It's in the interpreter.
Yeah. In rereading that, I understand that. Sure.
Yeah. So, well, since you just talked, Jerry, I'm going to let you read 19.
Okay. With regard to the veracity of dreams, Rabbi Yochanan said, one who awakened in the morning and the specific verse happens into his mouth, it is a minor prophecy, an indication that the content of the verse will be fulfilled. Okay, so you have this dream and you wake up and you have your favorite pasuk, your favorite passage from scripture pop into your mind. It's a minor prophecy. So what is the prophecy, however? Is it the dream or is it the meaning of the verse? And I think what he's saying here, and I think this is what Rabbi Steinsaltz is saying, it's not the dream that will come true, but you've just gotten a new understanding of this verse, and it will have implications in your life. You could have been dreaming about anything, and when you woke up, the verse just popped into your mind, maybe a reflection of what you were dreaming about, may not be, because we don't really remember our dreams that well. The last thing on that transition moment between being asleep and being awake, that liminal moment, a pasuk, a verse from scripture came out, which is a word of God in some extended way, and that will then have specific meaning. It's a minor prophecy, not a big one. Okay. So Rabbi Yochanan, an important figure, he says a number of things. Number 20, would someone care to read some of the things that Rabbi Yochanan said?
I can read.
Yeah.
Rabbi Yohanan also said 3 dreams are fulfilled: a dream of the morning, a dream that one's fellow dreamed about him, and a dream that is interpreted within a dream.
Okay, so there's 3 types of dreams. So your last dream, the one right before you woke up, that's going to be fulfilled. A dream that your friend dreamt about you and probably told you. So, Rochelle, I dreamt about you last night, and this is what happened. And a dream that is interpreted within a dream. Did you ever have one of those dreams that you dreamt you were dreaming?
I don't remember.
Yeah. So, in what ways might these be fulfilled? Yes, Jerry.
I have a dream that we have reviewed this stuff, by the way, but
I think we have, because
keep going, but but I seem to recollect, maybe we did something similarly, but I think we had the conversation, but every conversation is different.
Yes. I think we did do something similar to this before, because some of the things are repeated.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It doesn't hurt. You know, repeating, Peter wasn't. Ben Bogbog said, read it over and over again because everything's in it. So here we have, but I think that here we have dreams being fulfilled doesn't mean that they will be fulfilled in sort of a literal sense, but I think that means be fulfilled in a meaningful sense. You will get something out of it. So your last dream will affect the way you think about the day. You wake up, good mood, bad mood, whatever. What your friend tells you about the dream that your friend had about you in some way deals with that relationship. And the dream within a dream is, that gets you to think, being self-reflective. And some say that the dream that is repeated several times is also fulfilled, as is stated, and for the dream that was doubled is the dream from here. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani said that Rabbi Yonatan said, a person is shown in his dream only the thoughts of his heart when he's awakened. And of course, we have the example from Daniel. Okay. Daniel says to Nebuchadnezzar, yeah, you're already thinking about this stuff. And if you wish to say, instead that is derived from here, that you will make the thoughts of your heart, also from Daniel. How will you know the thoughts of your heart? By their dream being revealed to you, and by their being revealed to you in a dream. Rava said, know that this is the case, for one is neither shown a golden palm nor an elephant going through the eye of a needle in a dream. In other words, dreams only contain the images of one's mind. So that dreams reflect our experiences. We don't dream of anything that we couldn't imagine otherwise. Do we still take dream interpretation seriously?
Maybe not literally, but maybe it's an indication that something's bothering us, but not really, literally.
Oh.
I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah. What do we know about, in development of Freudian psychology? Freud always wanted to, in some way, have access to the subconscious, to get into what is, isn't immediately available. Part of it was seen in a study of jokes, which actually is a really good book. I remember reading it in college, and it's all filled with Jewish jokes and jokes from Heinrich Heine. And we had a really nice graduate student as our TA in this course, and she was from the Midwest and didn't get any of the Jewish jokes. It's sort of like, going to a Woody Allen movie in the 60s in the Midwest. She didn't get it, but they were really fun. All the Jewish kids had a great time with this, but he also wrote, a lot about dream interpretation. And that's a way of getting into the subconscious.
Who was the author?
Freud.
Freud, okay.
Remember that guy? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Important, though probably wrong in many things. So let's see. Last one. Do I have another one? Okay, one more thing. I'd like to pull up another thing. No, I saw that one. Let's go. I'm going to have to pull up another text. Oh my! Can't believe that. Hold on for 1 minute.
Do they say anything about hypnosis?
No, they don't know about hypnosis.
Oh.
Or Hypnosis is a later thing. It's something that develops in the 18th century by a French doctor called mesmerism, that idea of getting into the subconscious. So, okay, I'm gonna cancel this. I just want to make this a little smaller. Let's see. Okay, now we're going to get to some other stuff, and this is going to be redirecting incestuous dreams. So that there is a real concern in this period about the way we how we maintain ourselves as independent human beings. And the world, when I studied this sort of stuff, their sense of psychology was different, that the world was outside of us, pressing into us and tempting us in all sorts of various ways. And one of the temptations that would get us into trouble one of the impulses would be perhaps, let's say, greed. We'd see gold and we'd want to just go after it, or we see food and we'd want to eat, the so-called seafood diet. I see it and I want to eat it. Alcohol, you have like, it's just water, liquid, but I drink it. There's a spirit in it that comes to me. And there's also a sense of sexual spirits, that are attracted. So there's people will be emanating things. We sometimes have this sense of emotions coming over us. Let's say when we talk today about anger, how sometimes anger, we have a sense of that it grasps us. So they have that sense of, in general, it was emotions come from the outside and grab you. There's also a real discomfort with things that deal with sexuality, because it is such a powerful thing. So here it is. The worst thing that you can imagine would be, in terms of sexual misbehavior, would be incest. And apparently people have those type of fantasies in their mind. And if they come up at night, oh my God. When you say your nighttime prayer, you sort of pray to God that I don't want any of these disturbing dreams. If you go to a traditional Siddur, you'll see that, keep me from having bad dreams, by which they probably meant dreams of sexual content. But that didn't always work. So here it is, you had these terrible dreams, and you don't even want to consider that this was a real thing. So here's a series of ways of redirecting it. The interest here is, I think, what they think is really important. So, would someone care to read?
You didn't change the screen.
I didn't change the screen. Isn't it up there?
No.
I should have a share there. I'm sorry. Let me do the share again. Is it up there now?
Not yet. Yes.
It should say Barachot 57a.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. It came on my screen. I'm sorry it didn't come on yours. We only have actually 1 minute here. So we'll do this. And I don't think there's a lot to discuss, but just to see what's happening. So would someone care to start reading?
I will.
Okay, please.
Okay, one who sees that he had relations with his mother in a dream, he should anticipate attaining understanding, as it is stated. Yea, if you call for understanding, from Proverbs 2:3, and in this homiletic interpretation, im is considered to be the equivalent of m.
Okay, here it is. So you have this terrible dream, but really it's a calling for understanding that Bina, a feminine word, is really your true mother, and it's with Bina you're going to get going on. So here is another terrible dream. You
Okay,
want to read the next one?
okay, sure. One who sees he had relations with a betrothed young woman in a dream, he should anticipate Torah, as it is stated. Moses commanded us Torah and an inheritance, Morasha, of the congregation of Jacob. Do not read it as a Morasha, rather read it as a Orasha,
Yes,
betrothed.
betrothed. The real switch here is you can see the switch from a shin to a sin. From a sh to a s. And you know that they look the same once you get rid of the dots. So, oh, I thought I was going to have, I had dreamt that I was already involved with a Na'ara Morasa, but no, it means that I'm going to be connected to Torah. Good, so I have now wisdom, I now have Torah. Okay.
And one who sees that he has relations with his sister in a dream should anticipate wisdom, as it is stated, say unto wisdom, you are my sister.
Which is a beautiful thing for proverb, that I have this intimate relationship, not with my sister, but with Chokmah, again, a feminine word.
And one who sees that he had relations with a married woman in a dream is assured that he is one who has a place in the world to come. He receives his place as well as that of another person in the Garden of Eden, as the married woman represents a portion belonging to someone else. However, the Gemara adds a caveat and says this only applies in a case where he did not know her and was not thinking about her that evening. Rather, he saw an unidentified woman in his dream by chance.
Okay, so I want to just end here. So here we have a series of really difficult dreams, things that are really disturbing. And if we were to live them in real life, that would be really bad, uncomfortable, difficult, no way good. So what they're doing here is really radically interpreting it for what people really need. So dream of your mother means you're going to get bina, understanding. Dreams of someone who's forbidden to you because she's already engaged means no, you're going to get Torah. Dreaming of your sister means that you're going to get wisdom, Chokhmah, and dreaming of another woman means that you're going to have Gan Eden. All these terrible things that should alienate you because they're not smart, they are against Torah, they're really foolish, and would probably send you to hell, are being flipped in a way that you can be comfortable. So, in some way, there's a cleverness in dealing with these bad dreams. What is the take home from this? I mean, some of this stuff was sort of silly, some of this stuff was entertaining. But what is the take home thing about the dreams? What do you think our sages are thinking about dreams? What do they mean? I'm going to get out of the stop share. I'll get into stop share. How do we deal with dreams?
Interpret them positively.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Are they to rule us?
No.
No. What does interpretation tell us?
It's a reflection of the interpreter.
That's right. It tells us we can use it to express our own values. Dreams are not really prophecy. They're just dreams. And even the worst type of dream, really doesn't mean what you think it means literally. It really is pointing to something else. You've dreamt that you've done something terrible in a dream. No, you didn't do that. But you can interpret it as a way that will help you become a better person. Yes.
Yeah, I think it means that our sages were really troubled by dreams.
Sure.
So because of that, they had to figure a way of softening or eliminating the negative impact that dreams could cause.
Where does your soul go at night?
God collects it.
Yeah, it's sort of free. It's out there. You know, sleep is a 60th of death. You know, where it's sort of could be telling you and experiencing all sorts of things that are dangerous. And it comes back to you with all these ideas. Oh yeah, they're really uncomfortable with dreams. It's a world in which dreams are probably very powerful. Dreams in which people are scary. And I think this really, sort of continues. Dream interpretation becomes really important through Jewish tradition, even into popular Jewish culture, even into a dream sequence in Fiddler on the Roof. You may remember that as well. And so that's, sort of part of that same general tradition, that same general cultural world. We may not take dreams seriously or in the same way, but it is something that they were concerned about and willing to write about and talk about and take, a good hunk of this tractate to think about. Okay, so I want to wish everyone for the evening, I would say pleasant dreams, but only good dreams until we meet again. I want to thank you so very much for giving me an hour of your time to share. I hope you enjoyed this material today. It's, again, not the deepest material or the most difficult material we have encountered so far, but we'll continue next week and try to find some things that I find most exciting about this part of Tractate Barachot. So everyone, sei gesund, be well, Cholomot tovot, good dreams, and see you next week or in the community.
Thank you,
Bye.
Rabbi.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Rabbi.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.